The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So what do you do when you feel like you're out of balance in life and you've got too much on your plate and you're trying to organize your life? And, you know, life can feel like that, absolutely. And the temptation can be to fix things out here, to create a to-do list and rearrange things, and whether that's getting more support or, doing things a little differently, getting a different job, changing our relationships. These are all outer circumstances that we are trying to fix or change. And sometimes that can be really helpful. Like if you've decided you're ready for something different and you do something different, like maybe it does bring a shift. However, what if when you're changing all those outer circumstances, you find that things aren't changing? And there's really a reason for that. When that starts to happen, it's because we're out of balance inside. And it's a call and an invitation to come back in within ourselves instead of trying to adjust and fix things outside of us. When we notice that that's not ultimately working, the invitation is to come back within and alchemize whatever is the cause of our upset, whatever is the cause of feeling out of balance, because there is an invitation to dig deeper. And so when we bring that kind of mentality, that's when our circumstances can begin to shift and can begin to change, and we can get the creative inspiration, we can get the divine action that we're meant to take that rearranges our outer circumstances as well. But it starts with the internal feeling of peace first, and then we can take action in our outer world. Oftentimes we get a bit ahead of ourselves because we take the action outside of us, but with no real internal shift, the things keep manifesting the way they manifest until the light bulb moment goes off and you're ready to have the internal shift. That's what the invitation is for you. It's to step into your power unapologetically so that you can really own your circumstances. I've done this time and time again. It's not easy work, but it is worth it if you want real sustained change in your life. And so that's why sometimes we can find like the weight on the whatever you call it. I'm drawing it like I'm like the weight machine, the scale. When the scale, like if you keep trying to like lose weight and it's not right, there's a reason why these things that we try to change in our lives don't really change. And it's not because you're wrong. It's not because you're bad. It's not because you need fixing. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's because it's calling you back into an invitation of love. It's calling you back to a place inside of yourself that you may have abandoned long ago. And so the invitation is to get lit up. The invitation is for more love. The invitation is for you to come back into alignment with your true heart's desires. And then the outside circumstances shift. And then we get the divine guidance about what to do because we feel whole inside, because we've come home to ourselves, and that deep appreciation of using an internal compass to navigate life. And this works every time. It works over and over again if you work it. But you have to keep showing up for yourself and you have to keep working it. And then you see the magic and the miracles and the manifestations. The truth is, we are always manifesting. And there's never a moment you're not. We are always creators, creating our reality. You're the director, the actor, the writer, the dreamer of your dream. And so the powerful call is that you get to write a new story.
Hello, hello, hello. I am extremely excited about today and my guests. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, hi. I need you to turn your phone around. You're showing
Let me see if I can
sideways.
turn my camera on and off and if it'll adjust it.
Okay. While she's doing that, let me. There we go. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Well, Kalen, I am so honored to have you here with me today. And I am going to share just a little bit about you because you're going to share a lot more. Kalen Olson helps women transform their lives and come home to themselves in relationships, wellness, and work by infusing everyday life with beauty, art, and sacred intentions. We're going to talk about all of those things. But before we do, I'm going to give you the floor and ask you to share more about you. What was your childhood like? How did you get to the point of wanting and desiring to transform women? So I'm going to give you the floor and let you share.
Sure. So I had a pretty magical childhood in the sense of like, we grew up on a dead end street. We had a cow pasture right next to us. And I remember taking all the rotten apples from the apple tree that I would climb to feed the cows, playing outside, running, falling asleep beneath the stars. That was all like really normal activity for me. And I just felt really alive. And I also really loved art. I loved drawing. My dad taught me a lot about how to draw. And I started drawing women and just falling in love with creativity. And so art and performing, singing, dancing, like all of that brought a lot of richness to my childhood. We grew up on tradition. We grew up on a lot of like Christian faith-based Christmas traditions, birthday celebrations. All of that was super normal in my household. And, and I grew up with all brothers. So I was the only girl in the family, which was like, it was really fun because I got to experience like more adventure too. Like I think traditionally a lot of boys like crave adventure and such. And so sometimes when I'd get stuck in the apple tree, my younger brother would help me down. And it was just a lot of fun. And I noticed too, like, my parents went through their own stuff as we all do in families, and they ended up getting divorced, which was of course challenging. But also, I remember in school, I was like super silly. I loved being silly. I would burp really loud in class. I would wear mismatching socks to school. And I just thought life was a ball. I loved like just feeling really me, and like I wasn't noticing like what people thought or people's opinions about me. I just felt like I could be silly and laugh and enjoy life. And I noticed like as I started getting a little bit older and still in childhood, I think, in middle school, we're still children, that like I did notice that I really wanted to be good. And I started to really crave like really good grades and trying to get the A's and trying to perform really well in school, that started feeling really good to me. And I noticed that kind of carried me through a lot of school, and that was still important, although social was very important in college. But that kind of mentality really stuck with me as well. Like if starting to form my career, that I was like really trying to like chase after this idea of almost perfectionism and like wanting to achieve a lot. And I didn't know it at the time, but like that was really disconnecting me from that childlike joy I experienced when I was a kid, because I had kind of tucked it away, in favor of corporate success or career success. And so I didn't know that that was a piece that was missing until slowly, because of that built up over the years, that it kind of came to a culmination. And I realized I was like, oh, I feel really disconnected from myself. And I had a choice, to either go to grad school or keep climbing the corporate ladder. And neither choice really felt authentic to me. And I was like, gosh, I really need to do some digging here. And so I started, revisiting spiritual practices in a deeper way, with a deeper lens, instead of really using prayer as a way to ask for things, starting to more meditate to receive wisdom. And that was really new for me. And it was a new area to explore that started really lighting me up. And I was like, gosh, maybe I can navigate life just in a different way than I was before, and come back to like a stronger sense of faith that's based not so much on the achievement, but rather that inner fulfillment. And so it was through that catalyst, and eventually losing my dad to leukemia, where
Mm.
I really experienced surrender for the first time. And I got to feel what it feels like to feel supported, by the divine, by, my colleagues, by family, by friends, instead of trying to effort my way through life. And so that moment really taught me that, like, I can let go, I can be supported. And it really just like awakened a tremendous joy in me. And I was noticing how much it had touched my own career, my own relationships, my own health, that I realized how many other people really feel like this, like so many people. And I just realized, like, I really want people to know that there's a different way. And I want people to feel that vibrancy in their lives every single day. And so, really, since that moment, it's just been like such a deepening to go even further into that joy. And when there is grief, to even go further into those moments of grief and realize, like, it's this transformation is this all encompassing wheel of love if we really let it be.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And my condolences for your father. Clearly, even after divorce, you had a very close relationship with your dad.
Yeah, he was always really good about reaching out. And he was like, did you get your oil changed? Have you checked your car? A lot of those practical dad things he was really good at. He really spent a lot of time remodeling our house. And so he was more of like a practical man. And so it wasn't really until his diagnosis that we got to explore more of that emotional depth in the relationship. And so I'm super grateful that we got to explore a lot more of that toward the end of his life.
That's beautiful. Listen, we are talking to Kalen Olson. She is a transformational coach whose focus is on sacred balance. And you talked about joy and peace and wisdom. All of those things are divine. All of those things are divine. And the beauty of it is, no matter what we are going through, no matter what surrounds us, when you've got that inner joy, that inner peace, there's nothing like it. And the only way that you can get that is by having that spiritual connection that you talked about. And you talked about stepping into your power. I am going to, now I know that you being the only girl, being an only girl, I can imagine has its privileges. There were three of us and one brother. So, I can just imagine. And so, with all of that and having such a happy childhood, do you know how rare that is these days? To have such a beautiful childhood. Two out of three adults who have unresolved issues, it stems from their childhood. 2 out of 3. So for you to be that one that grew up in such a loving, free environment that allowed you to be yourself. And I loved it when you said it didn't matter what other people thought about you because you knew who you were from an early age. That is absolutely beautiful. And I know we talked a little bit earlier about your relationship, and I know that getting to where you are, having that sacred balance, I know it didn't come easy. So I'd like for you to kind of share that journey and how you were able to navigate through some things and still have that joy, that peace, that love. So please help our audience understand. And I also, one of my friends came on. She said, "Good evening. Thank you, Futina, for being here. Appreciate you so much." Okay. So I'm going to give you the floor to kind of share that experience.
Yeah. So, yeah, it felt so effortless to feel like I could be myself as a kid. But what started happening was as I got older, I like really, I mean, I've always kind of had an adventurous spirit and I've wanted to just go over here and do this thing and do that thing. And really in my 20s, I took on a lot more than I could handle. And really it was that like proving mentality that made my life really feel out of balance. But I was determined to, create a career that I could feel like I was doing really well in. And that was just important to me at the time. But I didn't know that I was so out of balance until it kind of came to that apex. And that culmination, like really, I guess, when my dad passed and I had to reevaluate. And what was interesting about that time was when he got his diagnosis, he was 1 month away from retirement. And when he passed, he was 1 month away from a bone marrow transplant. And so just the interestingness of that timeline, I think really also impacted me because it gave me the realization, oh my God, I can't just like work my life away. Like I can't just keep doing that and not enjoy the present moment. And it was that realization that like, I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll just, really live when I retire. Like I'm going to go on that vacation when I retire or whatever it is, we're waiting for that future moment. And I realized that like, what if that future moment never comes? And so that realization that like, we don't know what tomorrow holds can really be the impetus to say like, how can I create joy today? How can I find those little pockets to start bringing some joy in? And I think sometimes we think like it needs to be radical, but it doesn't really need to be so radical of like quitting a job necessarily or quitting a relationship. It's like, where can you look for those moments in your life where you can start infusing a little bit of joy? Maybe it's just putting out some music when you're doing the dishes, or maybe it's, calling somebody who you haven't spoken with in a little bit, or maybe it's going a new way for a walk. Like there's so many ways that we can use what we have to infuse joy into those everyday moments. And in those everyday moments, that's when we can start to feel that balance come back in, because it is nature, it is art, it is beauty that brings us back to that joy. And so focusing on those everyday moments can really be where that joy lives. But I think what's interesting too is that I didn't really know the joy until I really grieved. And so it's not necessarily about being really positive all the time. Like I was so used to thinking about life in a mental way and really thinking, how can I do this thing? How can I do this thing? That I was just like a little hamster on a wheel. And so really having the capacity to feel our feelings of, gosh, I'm feeling really frustrated right now, or I'm feeling really upset, or I'm feeling just this like sadness, and to allow it to wash over you, I think is also a tremendous way to allow joy into our lives, which is so paradoxical that like we're getting to joy through feeling these unpleasant feelings, but it
Yes.
can be a gateway.
Yes. Acknowledging and see our feelings are fleeting, you know, and if we can acknowledge them, whatever it is, particularly negative feelings or even grief. And grief is not, I don't want to call grief negative. Grief is grief.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone grieves differently and understanding that. But how can, even in the midst of grief, and I understand it all too well, even in the midst of grief, how do we find that joy, that assurance? How do we live each day as though it were our last? We do that by living in the moment. I'm hearing some crackling. I wonder if that's me. Is my, okay, that's weird. Okay. Can you hear that noise? Do you hear that noise?
Yeah, it's picking up a little bit.
Yes, I don't know what that is. But anyway, maybe it's telling me to be quiet. That is so weird. It's like someone's chopping in my ears or something. But anyway, time for a new headset. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna let you kind of share because I know you've been with your fiance for 10 years, and you shared with me that there was he has been sober for 7 years. Congratulations. But how did that impact on your peace and your joy as you were going through those things?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely, it was a big part of that part of our relationship at the time, and really, really caring about him. Um, and he knows this, but I have a brother who had passed away from going to rehab for alcohol. And so it was really challenging to kind of separate the two a little bit and to like know and trust that he's on his own journey and he's not my brother. And so there was a part of me learning how to know that he's his own person. And so that was my own work to look at and to not really connect with what he was going through. And that kind of helped both of us. I think sometimes someone's going through something really hard in our relationships, and we just have good intentions of wanting to help them. But we don't know what's best for somebody. That's really not our job. That's God's job. And so when we can trust that there is divine order in life and trust that like that something greater has the people in our lives, I think that creates the window of opportunity for healing to happen because you're trusting in something in them that they might not even see in themselves yet. And so it can be so tempting when people are hurting around us to try to go offer help or this, that, and the other. But really, like, we're still seeing them from the lens of hurt. And so trusting that, like, something bigger has got it, then that's really what can open up the space for healing. And that's really what happened for us, was I had to stop saying, like, I'm worried about this or I'm worried about that. And really just know that he's figuring out in his own way. And it may not be the way that I do it. And that was what really opened up the door for him to decide for himself. And that's what's like so important, is that everybody gets to be whole. Everybody gets to be in their power. And that comes from themselves, not from other people around them.
Yes, absolutely. And unfortunately, we are constantly looking out here for the answers, looking out here for our joy, looking out here for our happiness when it's all right here. It's inside of us. And
Yeah.
it's been inside of us since the day we were born. But we have to recognize that and get back. So, what would you suggest are some tips for people to begin to step into their power? And as you tell me, I'm going to write them, put them down, and put them in the comments.
Yeah. Well, I think a great one, just going off of what we've just talked about, is to start reframing your relationships. And sometimes we can be tempted to try to save people or know what's best, but reframing our relationships to understand that your relationships are all your teachers makes for a much more exciting and thrilling ride. That this person in front of me is my teacher. And ask, what are they teaching me? And invite that divine wisdom in and ask the divine, like, what's my lesson here to learn? And then that can break up the dynamics of the relationship from any sort of like victimizer, to really see and witness the love that wants to come forth in the relationship, so that both of you can be in your power. And that's where more joy comes from.
Yes, I love it. Reframing your relationship to understand that your relationships are teachers. Everything that we go through, good, bad, indifferent, is to teach us something and also to enable us to help others learn as well. So you have a beautiful spirit, and all of it comes from inside. So reframing relationships is the first thing.
Yep.
Don't take things at face value and don't try to judge. Don't try to tell people what they need to do because we don't know what people need to do. That's not our job. Our job is to listen and to be there to support, just as is exactly what you did for your fiance. You were there for him without judging him, without condemning him, without criticizing him, but allowing him to find his way, his way.
Mhm. Yeah. And I have to be honest, I'm still working on this. Like, it's not like it's
It's
a
a
one and done.
daily job.
Yeah, it's not like it's a one and done thing. Like, he'll admit, if he heard this, he'd be like, "You're still working on that."
But it's a daily job.
It is a daily
You
job.
know, it's not,
Yep.
it's just like being we call ourselves Christians or, spiritual, but that's a daily walk.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not a one day kind of thing. And so when you're talking about transforming your life, that's daily.
Yeah. Yep. And there's just deeper and deeper layers, but that's like, okay, then there gets to be deeper and deeper layers of where the love can go too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Deeper and deeper layers as to where the love can go to. Oh, let's talk about love. Let's talk about love. And that song, the first thing that came to me was that song, What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. So let's talk about love. And of course, before we can talk about loving others, it begins with yourself. That's why Kalen is saying, come home to yourself. All right, Kalen, I'm giving you the floor.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I can tell you're a very loving woman. And
Oh, thank you.
it's,
I want to be. I choose to be.
hmm, yeah, I can feel it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, not all of us were taught how to be loving. And I think all of us, our parents tried the best they could with what they
Yeah.
had. And I like to look at too, like any sort of family dynamic, like every generation gets to learn something that the
Yes.
previous generation didn't know. And so again, going back to that teacher mentality of like, we're all just we're all just like learning together. And how beautiful is that? Like to draw on like what gifts did you get from your ancestors because they did give you gifts.
Yes.
To really feel that love in your life, that whatever happened in your family, like there's so much love there, and that you can really feel that, and really ask for like, what is the wisdom from my ancestors, what is the wisdom from my family that is wanting to also be passed to me, and that can really open up more love in us as well.
Yes, I love it. What is the wisdom? And what else did you say? Do you remember? What is the wisdom?
Mm-hmm.
What?
that our that our ancestors want to pass on to us.
Yes. And now let me ask you this, because someone may say, well, how do I get in tune with my ancestors? How do I how do I become aware of that? What would you say to a person that might ask that question?
Yeah. I mean, you can just ask. You can meditate, and you can ask for that wisdom to be given you, and to pray over it. And sometimes prayer, we're asking for things, and then meditating is about receiving that wisdom. So for some people, they're connected to spirit, or you could, connecting to your ancestors, but there's a lot of beautiful wisdom that you can connect with.
Yes, and a scripture that's most favorite of mine, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God who giveth liberally and upbraideth not. So you saying you can ask for wisdom. You can just ask for it.
Yeah.
That was, and that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now we have a couple of pictures here, and these pictures, in my opinion, demonstrate or show that inner peace that you can even see in these photographs. And I'm going to show this one first of you. And you can see with this picture, I would say this is an authentic picture.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
Do you want to share anything about this particular picture?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this picture is 1,000 words. So I was in Boston with my best friend when this picture was taken, and I was sitting on the bench. She goes, "Ah, you're just looking gorgeous. Look at me." And she took the picture of me. And I'm just like lit up here because I'm with my best friend. We're having the best time. And we were actually in a home from one of the original creators of the Declaration of Independence, which is pretty crazy.
Oh, wow. Where were you?
We were in Natick, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
you can just in the house itself too, you can feel how old the house is. And so it's interesting because like I live on the West Coast, and so our oldness is related more to nature. But like when you go over the East Coast, you can feel this ancientness more in the architecture over there. And I
Yeah.
think there's something really interesting there that you get to connect with when you're in these spaces too.
Yes. And you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and this is a beautiful picture as well.
Yeah.
So, were you in Oregon at the time of this picture?
That was also my Boston trip.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, we got to go with one of our mentors, Sarah Jenks, and we got to do like 2 days of full meditation together with a bunch of other women. And it was
Oh,
just
wow.
so powerful. Yeah, just sitting in ceremony together, and it was so beautiful. And, getting to learn a lot about ourselves and connect with nature. It was just like so, so beautiful.
That is, well, you look radiant in both those pictures.
Oh, thank
You
you.
do. Now, this, one of the questions I want to ask, because I know that you went through a transformation um, from moving out of a career that you found yourself just in it, just consumed by. And if this is not the right explanation, you can tell me. But I'm feeling like you were on a path of moving so fast that you weren't taking time to come home to yourself. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you meet your fiance. Is that correct?
I know there's so many different timelines going on.
Right, right, right.
We met. He was bartending and I was serving at a restaurant in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Uh, that was, gosh, yeah, 10 years ago. And so then we moved. This is taken in Central Oregon, and we've moved there. We've moved here 5 years ago, and this was taken just this last year.
Oh, wow. Well, you guys look happy. And since the change, since his transformation and the two of you transforming together, how has that impacted on relationships? Because sacred balance has to do with self, relationships, and all aspects of our lives. So, how does this transformation in both of you, what does that look like?
Yeah. I think oftentimes, like when we start healing ourselves, it does impact our relationships for the more positive, and vice versa. When other people transform around us, that impacts us positively. And so I think that's what's been so like really cool to watch is my boyfriend's transformation and seeing him, grow in the ways he wants to grow. And then me having the space to do that in our relationship. It's like so beautiful. We don't
Yeah.
have like, I think, you know, in relationships, there's closeness and there's also the importance of separation. And I don't think that's talked about enough a lot, where it's like you don't want to be completely enmeshed in each other. Like you do, like it's fun, but like having a little bit of space for people to be themselves, I think is like really powerful. And that,
And important.
yeah, that gives space for love in the dynamic and for two people to come into their own wholeness. So that's, I think, what I've really like witnessed about our relationship is like we're not just like both doing the same things and partaking in all the same things. Like we have things we like to do together, but he has his things he enjoys, I also have my things I enjoy, and that's healthy balance of appreciating what each other likes to do. And that's part of our relationship, is learning to appreciate the differences, even if you don't completely understand them. That's really what love is like.
Yes.
You don't have to believe the same as me, you don't have to do the same as me, but I really love and just support like who you are.
Okay. I love that. Learn to appreciate each other for who they are. That's beautiful. Now, what would you say to couples who are really struggling right now, and they're struggling because of the pressures that they're experiencing due to life? They have children, and their relationship just doesn't seem to be like it used to be.
Mhm.
What would you say to a couple like that?
Yeah, I think that it can feel normal because in the beginning of a relationship, you're just like all hopped up on oxytocin and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. The hormones are like so completely different in the beginning of a relationship. And then you get into routine and you get into you're really enmeshed in the beginning, but as you continue in a relationship, that like super enmeshedness isn't always healthy for two individuals to grow. So it is like finding that balance, right? And at the same time you're growing, and like you're growing children, you're growing a career, so there's all of these other things that are filling your plate. And so what really helped me to get back to myself was to develop a morning practice, a sacred time for myself. And I noticed that that was really missing in my life. And if we don't nourish ourselves at the beginning of the day, then we're really on autopilot, almost being pulled by everything around us. But that time in the beginning, it starts to build the well of self love. It starts to build the well of that juiciness. And then what I noticed is that like the juiciness I felt in the beginning of the relationship is actually something I can cultivate in myself. And I don't have to rely on trying to leech that out of the other person as the relationship goes on. And then you can come together more in owning that in yourself and enjoying the present moment from your own sense of connection to the divine, or your own sense of connection to your own inner love.
Yes,
Yeah.
and meditation. Now, a lot of people have some trepidation about meditation, but when we talk about meditation, it is a way for you to go into yourself. And
Mhm.
you can do it through breathing. You can do it through saying one word. One of the things that I used to do is repeat the 23rd Psalms over and over and over again as my form of meditation, and just focusing in on those words. And I mean, saying it over and over and over and over again to get it in me, and then when you need it, it's there. It's there. That's another story. But
Yeah, mantras are so powerful. That like repetition over and over again. It's like it's been used in spirituality for so long, and
yeah.
I love that.
Yes, and that's one way and we're trying to give you some advice on ways that you can come home to yourself. And one of those ways is through meditation. But Kaylin has some other ways as well. Meditation is one of them, but when we come back from commercial, she's going to give us some other ways that you can come home to yourself. So let me get this commercial and we will be right back.
Mama knows. Creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products, because Mama knows what you need.
They are wonderful. They smell great, and they're for all types of hair. They are shampoos, conditioners, elixirs, gels, all kinds of things for healthy hair. Children can use it, adults can use it, all races can use it. So you want to check out mamaknowsproducts.com. Why? Because Mama knows what you need. So check out Mama Knows Products. All right. Now, back to our question. We talked about meditation as being one of those forms that will lead you to the art of sacred balance. I'd like for you to share with our audience some other ways that we can create that art of sacred balance.
Yeah. So, really, one way that people can start to appreciate sacred balance is to start looking at your to do list. I think sometimes we have a to do list and it's all of these things that I have to do. But sometimes we don't stop to ask ourselves, like, why am I doing these things? Are they benefiting me or do they actually have to be done? And a lot of those things aren't necessarily have tos, they're shoulds. And so to start taking inventory and asking that inner wisdom to reorient, like, for solutions, if something's feeling heavy on your to-do list, if something's feeling like you're not really inclined to do it, by asking if it's really, really necessary, then you can begin to kind of peel back and say, okay, if it's not necessary, I could drop it and I could say yes to something that lights me up more. Or you could peel back how you're doing the thing. I used to love to do this when I was a teacher. I would know that the classwork had to get done, but I started to rework how I was doing the classwork. And then the other way is to really bring beauty into the experience. So if something does need to be done, like the dishes, can you light a candle while you're doing it? Can you bring in music, dance, and to make the activity itself more enjoyable and coming so that you stop coming from your mind and you can enjoy the experience and feel more present in the activity.
I love it. And one of the things that keeps us from enjoying things that we do is we get so caught up on looking back instead of focusing in on what's happening right now,
Mhm.
right this very second. That's how you get that come home to yourself feeling, because you are in tune with yourself, with your inner beauty, with your inner joy, with your inner peace. I'm telling you, there's nothing like peace. So let me ask you, what do you do to get, and I'm sure some of the things that you're saying here, you talked about adding beauty to even your chores and things that you're doing, listening to music, dancing in your house, even I use that sign that says dance like no one's looking.
Mhm.
You can do that. I'm crippled and I dance all over my house with my cane.
I love it. Mhm.
I mean, you have to that one song, Don't Worry, Be Happy. You have to make yourself happy. Happy is something that comes from inside of you. You have to find those things that bring you joy, that can be the art of sacred balance. Okay, I'm going to shut up. And go ahead, give us some
No,
more.
it's so true. Like, we're oftentimes like running ahead. We're like, I gotta go get this thing done. I gotta go. It's like, just give it over to God. Just give it over to God, and just keep doing that, and then be present with where you are. Okay, this thing's stressing me out. Help me find a solution here. And
Yeah,
oftentimes, if we take the mental legwork out of trying to figure out a solution and we just let the mud settle, the solution can
It
come about so
does.
much more easily, and then you
It
can enjoy the
does.
dishes in the meantime.
Exactly. Exactly. And the thing is, and I've made reference to this before. I used to have a sign on my refrigerator that said, "Why worry when you can pray?" Or "Why pray if you're going to worry?" And so you can't pray for an answer and then pick it back up again and continue to worry. The sacred balance is being able to let go and let God. That's the secret, letting go. And I'm telling you, if you do that, you'll be less sick. I promise you. Would you not agree?
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, sickness comes from a lot of things, but a lot of it comes from our own mindset and our diets, as well as others. I know this is getting off the beaten path, but it is a way to come home to yourself, because it encompasses everything. Because you did mention even wellness.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, like, I mean, it was interesting because what I realized was like my thoughts were almost causing the inflammation, because it's like if my thoughts are so worrisome, that's feeling like the inflamedness in my body, and there's so much connection between our mind and our body. And so if we can be with the sensations in the body to like really fully feel them, then that allows the inflamed thoughts, the inflammation that we're feeling in our lives to start to kind of just kind of let all that go. And of
Yeah.
course, there like, there are foods that are helpful, but everybody's so different. So listening to your own body, asking for what you need, being open to receiving guidance, all of that connects back to how you can really feel super vibrant.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can get in touch with Kalen on Instagram. Just put in her name, Kalen Olson. And her website is www.kalenolson.com. Check her out. Check her out. Now I know there's a book inside of you somewhere, right?
Yes. Well, fun fact, I did write a children's book.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you give me the cover?
I can still give you the cover.
Okay. I would love to have had it to show here. Tell us about your children's book, and do you have a copy of it near you?
I don't have a copy near me, but the title is called, I self-published it on Amazon. The title is called The Slug That Ate Grandpa. And I used to tell us like a rendition of that to my grandpa when I was a kid. And he was going through some health stuff, and it was during COVID. And I just thought it would be like really fun and uplifting to, everyone was kind of bored during COVID at one point.
You're
So
right, of
I was
course.
like, gosh, it'd be fun to turn this experience into joy and art. And so I decided to write the children's book, and I created all the imagery. I painted all the pictures with
Oh my
watercolor.
goodness.
And it was super fun. Yeah, it was my first book that I published.
What's the name of it again?
The Slug That Ate Grandpa. And kids love this book. Every kid who's ever read it, they're like, they want to keep reading it over and over. Kids love slugs.
Oh, that is too funny. On Amazon. I'm gonna play another commercial, and then I'm gonna see if I can find it and post it here. Um, so I'm putting it here, and I'm putting it up here. The slug that ate grandpa, not grandma. Let me do this right. The slug that ate grandpa. Let me Okay. Do it right, Vera. Do it right. Okay. So there we go. Yes. There we go. Okay. And I hadn't put it in the comments yet, so that's a good thing. so I can just put it correctly in the comments. Paste. Okay. By Kalen Olson. Well, it would help if I did that right. Okay. Okay. All right. So I am going to do a commercial and then I'm going to see if I can find your book so that people can see. And you actually did the artwork for it as well?
I did the artwork.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Well, let me play a commercial and we will be right back. Okay. Oh, I know what happened. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Hey there, Jason McNamara here, and I'm about to drop something truly game-changing your way. Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 grind, feeling stuck in obtaining the life you deserve and craving something more? Well, listen up, because I've got something you will not want to miss. Introducing the No More 9-to-5 Club Professional Membership, your ticket to freedom and success in the entrepreneurial world. With our professional membership, you'll get access to weekly coaching sessions, pre-recorded trainings, and a vibrant community of fellow game changers. You get access to technology that will allow you to automate passive income streams, as well as unlock all of our expert-led trainings in the back office so you know where to go for good advice when you need it. You will also use the club to build up a residual income stream with a 2-tier, 33% affiliate commission unlocked at this level, allowing you to help people help themselves while generating a residual passive income stream for yourself. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, you can unlock all of this just for a $1.11 donation to our club foundation.
I like this one.
Your first month is on us. So what's holding you back? Click the link below, make your donation, and let's start building the life and business of your dreams together. Here at the No More 9-to-5 Club, we're all about turning dreams into reality and smashing through those glass ceilings.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, we've got the tools and support you need to thrive and evolve. And don't forget to sign up for our bootcamp training. It's the perfect way to kickstart your journey and unlock even more perks. So what are you waiting for? Join the No More 9-to-5 Club today and let's make those dreams a reality. I can't wait to see you on the inside. You only get one now. Invest it in your better future. Let's make magic happen together.
No more 9 to 5. Let me tell you about this organization. It is a great way to connect with others and use your own. Oh, let me put myself on here too. It's a great way for you to connect and network with people from all over the world. They have mastermind programs and trainings and networking meetings and ways for you to build residual income. You can go to bit.ly / no more, the number 9, the number 2, the number 5 VT and join for $1.11 to check it out. And all proceeds for all memberships go towards veterans. Now, I have pulled up your book. I know we're running out of time, but I did get it and I'm putting it up here so that people can see. And you did the artwork.
There it
The
is.
slug that ate Grandpa. Oh my goodness. So, how did your grandfather feel when he saw this book?
Oh, he laughed. He thought it was hilarious.
That is awesome. That
Yeah.
is awesome. Well, check out her book for children, The Slug That Ate Grandpa. I think I'm going to get that for my grandchildren.
Oh.
So I'll talk to you about that as well. And I'm going to give you the floor and let you make our final words. And I appreciate you being here. And And I will say I will see you all on Thursday. And so in the meantime, take us out.
Oh, thanks, Vera. Thanks for having me on. And it's a delight to be with everyone here. And just remember, sacred balance isn't about reorganizing your to-do list. It's about really digging in, seeing what lights you up, and having the courage to say no and what no longer serves you so that you can really live in your power and live as the light of your life that you are.
Amen. Amen. And with that, we will see you on Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm going to pull us both down. And then if you would wait a few minutes, I would appreciate seeing you after the show.
The